Good evening and a very warm welcome to the viewers from all over the world. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, the CEO's Chair is a unique program where we showcase inspiring stories of successful CEOs. And we have one such successful and inspiring story with us today. Deepshikha Kumar, welcome to the CEO's Chair once again.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Siddharth. Lovely being here.
Thank you, Deepshikha. It's actually our 42nd episode today, Deepshikha.
Wow.
So we've had obviously quite the list of inspirational speakers before you, and I'm sure many more to come. Mm-hmm. And before we get started, Deepshikha, while quite a few of our viewers already know who you are, I just wanted to take a few. It's difficult to encapsulate what you've done the last at least 20-25 years in a few lines, but I'm going to try my best.
Yes, please, all over to you.
Absolutely. So you're the winner of the top 100 women entrepreneurs for 2020, and this was an award conferred to you by the Ministry of Medium and Small Industries. You're also the winner for 2017 as well as 2019 for the Asian Women Icon Award, which was, I believe, this is for all of Asia, and this was in Singapore.
Yes.
You also have the title of one of the most networked entrepreneurs in Asia. So I'd love to talk to you a little bit more about that because you happen to be in the people business. So I'm sure that is extremely important for you. In addition, you're also a member of TIE, a TEDx speaker and an author.
Yes, yes.
And you are also an alumni at ISB as well as the Wharton School. And I believe the Wharton School of Business.
Yes.
Correct. So Deepshikha, jumping right in, SpeakIn, congratulations on all the success that you've had over the past 5 years, I think it's been, since 2015.
Yes, it's been since 2016, actually, late 2016, but officially, technically, the company started in 2018. So yes, 3 years approximately, yes.
And from what I've read and what I've seen online, the concept has been swirling around in your head since 2007, 2008.
Correct. Yes, that's when me and a batchmate of mine graduated from ISB, and that was the time that it was his idea. Actually, I keep telling him that this was your germination, and I just took it forward.
So essentially, you're connecting business leaders, you're connecting thought leaders to people that are seeking knowledge.
Correct.
If I understand the concept of SpeakIn correctly.
Absolutely. Yes.
So over the past couple of months, I know that 2020 has not been easy on any of us. It's been quite the exciting year for all the wrong reasons. How have you fared? How has SpeakIn fared over the last couple of months, if I may ask, Deepshikha?
We have, Siddharth, in fact, thank you so much for inviting me here, first of all, and such a pleasure to be with you together with your team and your cohort. Lovely community that you're creating, an excellent effort, an excellent initiative. It's not easy to put together 42 different people who don't respond to messages and don't see their messages and bring them on. So it's a great work that you're doing. Please keep at it. Now, yes, I think of course, from how things have been in 2020, I think the first and the foremost attention is on health and for everybody, and that has been the focus area for me as an individual as well as for my team professionally, whether it is the team in-house or the extended team with the experts and our clients and our stakeholders and more. So that's been the prime thing. So thankfully we've not heard of any we've not heard any big news which has been negative on the health front. I mean, of course, I've had a lot of people who've had contracted the disease, but they've successfully come out of it. So that's been very good.
Good to hear.
On the business front, Siddharth, so we were traditionally, so SpeakIn is a network of experts, right? I mean, we were known for our connections and bringing people together, making them have conversations, one-on-one interactions or larger forum-based interactions where speakers would come in and talk about their experiences. And the moment COVID happened, all of that kind of stalled because, you could no longer meet people, you could no longer sit in the same room, you could no longer sit across the table and talk to or see each other. So we had started seeing the headwinds early in January, and but we didn't realize I think the magnanimity of what was to come. of course, when the news came from China for the first time, I was in fact in Australia, and Sydney had just started reporting. They were still grappling with their fires, the forest fires, and all. But slowly, I think, given that we were always in the know of thought leaders, so we started seeing people talking about it more and more, and they said that this is not going to restrict, and not that this is something which started in December itself. It's been there for a while, and it's just a matter of time that it now spreads to other parts of the world, and therefore will start impacting people and economy thereafter. So by February, we had started then seeing clients responding to this with event cancellations, with people backing out last minute. The gatherings were going off, etc. That was when we realized this something big is going to hit. And by March, I think mid 22nd, I think, was when India announced the first lockdown.
Correct.
And 17th March, we shut down our offices and we all moved to work from home. And within 3 days, we can get the biggest thing that we've done, I think, as an organization at all points of time, and that helped us now, is the ability to talk to each other and brainstorm at every single point of our decision making, whether positive, negative, challenge, opportunity, and more. And when we got together on the 17th, we said that, we need to change the wave. What is the next wave? The next wave would be to bring everybody together. People will not stop being together, right? I mean, you can't hold people back, which is when the birth of SpeakIn webinars happened. And that was our first launch. Within 3 days, we created a website. Within 3 days, we created the entire mechanism wherein we could launch webinars online.
That's amazing.
17th was when we went off for the work from home. 22nd March was when we launched our first paid webinar. 24th March was when we launched our first webinar for the client, which was fully monetizable. So it suddenly opened, when we did one, and the fact that we moved in fast, we released a communication, we let all our clients know that, hey, this is what you could do. We bought our Zoom licenses and, we brought everybody, and those were so early that people were still grappling. People were still not sure. A lot of clients were also in denial. Okay, 1 month lockdown, 15 days, we'll come back, etc. So that helped us. The early preparation helped us, and the early moving in. So, and we pulled all our clients back. We said that, okay, you can't do it physically, let's do virtually. Hame aata nahi hai. Arey aata nahi, we'll help you. So the entire team rallied behind it, and we ended up seeing one of the best months for SpeakIn, because our costs went dramatically down, because there was hardly any logistical expense that we were doing. And clients were willing to pay a lot of money and do more. While when somebody would want to do one training session or one interaction, they were now doing 10, because they could do it for half the cost and far easier, right? Because people wanted to engage people, the organization, the employees were all staggered, etc. They wanted to put everybody together.
Absolutely.
So that, I think, helped us dramatically. And then, of course, another transition happened where we then realized a month down the line that it is not just the content that is being delivered virtually that is of help. This content can be further capsulized. So, as they say that, we were earlier doing a la carte, and then we moved to buffet, and then we said, here is to go. So we've canned this content for you. You can come, pick it up, walk away, consume it the way you like it, when you like it. And which is when the birth of SpeakIn mobile application happened. And I'm very proud to say that today, in less than 5 months, we have 7 million users of the SpeakIn content out there who are consuming this content in 5 different languages, and experts are delivering it, and we've just started.
No, that's incredible, and those are some incredible numbers as well, Deepshikha, especially during the lockdown, where I think everybody's mindset was, one of distraction, one of a little bit of chaos, what's going to happen, uncertainty. I was watching one of your earlier videos where you talked about the importance of knowing how to work with people. And it's a 2-part question that I'm going to ask you. One is, what is the kind of communication that you had to put out, let's say, to your clients and to your speakers, as well as to your internal teams during this entire space to pivot so quickly? And then the second part is, and you can come to that later, is what did you always have this realization that it's very important to know how to work with people, or was there a specific experience or a specific catalyst point which drove you to that?
To answer the first question first, that uh, I have always been, maybe I'm old school, as they say, but I've always been a fan of personalized communication.
Okay.
To go deeper, I've always been, quality centric, depth centric than volume centric. And therefore,
Mhm.
what we did, I think what helped us initially also was that we went one on one with the clients also. So we chose the clients. You definitely use, the Pareto principle and say that, these are the 20% of the clients who are going to yield 80% of what you're going to gain. And you go after those 20% and you go after in a very, very customized manner. And which is what we did. We went and spoke to these people. We went and communicated. No standard way of doing it. No standard, daily or time bound newsletters or something like, or time bound WhatsApp marketing and all that. Nothing. One-on-one communication that happened. And then the point was that we were so agile. We were so quick in doing that we caught people before they fell. So and that was true for within the company as well. Within the company we spoke so much. Now after 5 months we are not, we're all of us are not on Zoom calls and getting together in unnecessary meetings and all that. That all, in fact, now we've started saying that you don't even need to do a Zoom call. Just talk. Because
Sure,
screen
sure.
time increases stress as well, and undue stress on your eyes and your entire system. You need to dress up and be on the screen. Don't do all that. Just talk and pick up the phone and talk. They're simple conversations the way you were. And in fact, we've hired in the past 4 months, we've hired four more people, and at very very senior levels to come and join the team. And all of that has been possible because of that personalized communication. I think early in the days, it is important that you over communicate
Of
and then
course.
taper off, because it was very important for me also, because I was managing a very young team, right? And the team also had there was a faction which was mature, had children, uh, early 40s, late 40s, etc. And then there was a faction which was early 20s, and all of them were lost. And I think I personally didn't really have an option to do anything else, because my first priority was to keep everybody together and keep
Correct.
it sane. And so I think we were very, very empathetic to each other. That was the first priority. So we've never had, I'm hearing stories of organizations saying that, early in the morning at 9:30, everybody logs in, shows their face that yes, I'm present. Otherwise, they're marked absent and all that, and then that goes on till 7, 8, or whatever. We've never had that situation. We've just
Okay.
made sure that everybody is, and maybe we've been blessed, but every single member of the SpeakIn team is highly, highly accountable. And I think that is a culture that we've built from day one, and therefore that has helped us now in the past few months. So it's actually a team of micro entrepreneurs who are driven by themselves, who are measured by accountability and not
Okay.
by numbers. So that has helped. Now to the question two, I think when we start, uh, and I think it's a natural progression that we as human beings have. When I started, when I was in my first job or so, I
Mm-hmm.
always believed that I had two broad beliefs. One is that a person should do what he or she is supposed to do. So, for example, if you would walk into a government office, if that officer is supposed to sign a paper, he will sign a paper. There's nothing else to it. I mean, that was my belief. And he's supposed to do his job. I would go to a bank, go to an office. And both my parents were government servants, and walk in, and I'm like, but it's. And I would see, even my dad at times, or my mom at times, be cajoling the bosses or cajoling the somebody in finance, somebody somewhere, and all that. Like, why would you do that? Just tell him, no, this ye karna hai, this is the job. He'll do it. Why do you have to be nice to this person? Why do you have to over
Of course.
explain? Why do you have to sweet talk, small talk? All that is not required. And I think that kind of over a period of time changed. So, and I don't think there was one episode or something, but you do realize that. And the second part that was definitely there as a young person, you kind of think,
Mm.
especially in your teenage, is that I'm like that only. This is who I am. Take it or leave it. That doesn't work. And that's what I realized. I think, thankfully, I realized it through all of my 20s, through different experiences, good, bad, ugly. And so they kind of did explain and tell a lot about people that one, customized communication, sell to the person, not to the company,
True.
talk to the person, not to the company. And second is, I think, a lot of empathy. Whenever you are dealing with a person, you don't know where the person is coming from.
Of course.
Understanding, stepping into the other person's shoes is extremely, extremely critical, which yields, which helps you in understanding the overall, what is the overall win-win situation like. So I think these are the two lessons that I've had. No, nothing to say that it happened just on a day or an hour. I think you evolve, you experience things, you win some, you lose some, and then you understand what works.
No, and it's great that you've managed to create a culture, and this is, I think, something that every entrepreneur aspires to, of creating mini entrepreneurs or intrapreneurs within the organization so that they have their own accountability. And I think to the second part, everybody is trying to find a balance between how do I get the job done versus do I come across as a pushover, or do I come across as somebody who doesn't give a damn about anybody else.
Absolutely.
And especially when you're running your own business, I think it's extremely difficult to find that middle ground.
But I think, so that one more thing is that, I have always, also struggled on the other side. I see so many leaders struggling that, and so many leaders feeling guilty. I was talking to a very, very senior person today morning. He's one of the managing directors of a Fortune 500 company. And he said, my assistant, whenever she works with me, she cries at least once a week. And because I'm very aggressive and because I'm very assertive. And he's a wonderful, wonderful guy. I mean, and I've known him personally, I've known him professionally. See, as a leader, you have to, as I said, empathy definitely you need. Second, you need to be fair. You need to be fair to the person, you need to be fair to the organization, and you need to be fair to the peers who are around that person. So that, and all of that may always not be very, very simple or very rosy. You might have to take very, very hard decisions at times. You may have to put your foot down and say, boss, this is not going to work. And give the feedback accordingly. But I think, so all of that combined, empathy, being fair, and yet being assertive, are the traits that a leader should have. I don't think you should be a goody leader. You'll not get anywhere.
Absolutely. And you interact with, like I said, the thought leaders and the CEOs and business owners, not just in India, but globally as well. So you've seen quite a spectrum of leaders as well. How much did your leadership style or your management style evolve between your first job, and I'll come to your decision to go for an MBA as well, and your stint in Singapore?
Oh, between then and then, I learned a lot when I was in Singapore, and I kind of owe it a lot, owe a huge part of it to my boss, who led me in Singapore. I was telling somebody yesterday that, I remember the first day of my job in Singapore. So that was the first time that I had worked abroad. I of course studied abroad, but that was the first time that I'd worked, and I was alone. And there's this 25-year-old who's sitting in an office, and I was supposed to prepare a report on automotive. I had no clue about automotive. All I knew was how to drive a car. That's it. And I prepared my first report. I spelled brake as the brake, the pedal brake, as BREAK. And then so my boss comes and gives me some download on, you don't even know how to, and he laughs, gives me a very sarcastic laugh, and then says, okay, you have to redo the whole thing. I'm like, okay, it was, I think, around 12:30 in the night. The office was empty. It was on the 44th floor, and you could see the ocean, which is of course completely dark. And the guy picks up his bag and leaves, and the whole office is empty. It's my day one, and I'm looking around like, what the hell? How can they do that? I mean, it's my day one. Am I not supposed to be oriented? Am I not supposed to be, cajoled and offered some coffee, some nice tea, and say, welcome to Singapore, welcome to the company? Nothing. It was the most horrendous period of my life working for that person. But when I got out of it, I realized that the beauty of that leadership, because, here was a leader who was fair, who was very over aggressive, agreed, but fair, and would make me do things on my own. So I don't remember a single point where I was taught or trained beyond a particular point of time. I was in fact pushed to find my own solutions. Find problems, but don't come to me with problems. You find your own solutions. You've done your MBA, you've done your engineering, you've come with a certain amount of pedigree, you have experience in your background. There is no need for me to spoon feed you just because it'll make the results go faster. That was the beauty of those, 3 to 4 years that I spent in that organization. Until date, I look back and I say that, whatever I know today, 80% of that belongs to that man, because he made me what I am today. As no, though I'm not learning a lot of leadership traits from him, it's only some I've picked up. But definitely, I mean, I think, and that's where I see that, for your people, don't overfeed. If you're overfeeding your people, they are redundant. You don't need them. You might as well do it yourself. Give people enough autonomy, give people enough trust, and give people enough tools to let them make their own decisions and chart their own personal as well as professional journey within your leadership. Make leaders. You are not going to be around forever.
Absolutely. And they say that every person that you interact with, you learn something from them, whether what to become or what not to become. So that seems like a great lesson for you as well. Absolutely. What made you work for a couple of years and then say, listen, I want to do my MBA?
Oh, because everybody else was going for an MBA.
Okay.
I was in a company that was filled with IITians and everybody was going for an MBA. And I kind of realized that, I was missing a very important piece of managerial EQ, which was needed. And of course, at a certain level, you need to understand the larger game. So that's what I would recommend always to, people who are pre-MBA, that you need to, a lot of the younger generation or the pre-MBA students or the professionals that I see, they're getting very siloed with their own spheres. And second, I think there's a lot of confusion. Where do I head? What do I do? So I think an MBA should be viewed, at least that's how I viewed it, as an understanding of the business at large. How am I going to look at an organization? What are the 10 things that matter to an organization? And therefore I can drive towards it. There's a book called What the CEO Wants You to Know. So what should you know about an organization? Yes, I'm doing something, but what is it leading to? How is it contributing to the entire engine of the organizational machinery? I think that understanding MBA really, really helps. Plus, it was also important for me to take a stopgap. The third big part was to open up in terms of the network, because the whole community effect that comes in, that kicks in for when you enter a good institution is unmatched. I mean, I don't think today, after it's been 12 years since I graduated, I don't remember a single lesson that I learned in college at my MBA. All I remember now is the people that I studied with, people that I met, and the doors it opens for me today when I talk to somebody. It helps. So I think I don't know, maybe a too candid a response, but yeah.
No, but I think that's required, because we've got a lot of youngsters that are watching that are at a crossroads in their careers as well. And I think you did your MBA in 2007, is it?
Yes, I graduated.
So with the advancement in the online education system that we've had, with the advancement in the amount of information that's available to us right now, how relevant, I mean, keeping aside the network aspect of it, which I know is crucial, how relevant do you think that an MBA is today for somebody who is still thinking about the financial aspect as well?
See, after you work for a while, I definitely recommend you take a small pause. It helps you in recalibrating. And I was never a fan of a 2-year MBA. And that's precisely the reason why ISB has, got the lift that it did, and why it has become so popular and has produced an unmatched amount of leaders versus any other business school in the country or in the region, is because it kept it short and sweet. That's the maximum. Maybe down the line, you might see that particular that those 12 months becoming even shorter. But I don't think you can take this experience completely online. I don't think that'll happen. It could be an hybrid model. I assume a more hybrid approach would exist even with the MBA schools going forward. You might see some of these schools shrinking, becoming more and more experiential in nature, more practitioner-driven experiences. But I think it is still worth it. Take a pause. Because the other issue, Siddharth, is that when we graduated about 12 years ago,
correct.
Of course, we had far many more number of options than our parents did. At that time, it was only engineering and doctor. But the options today are even higher, right? I mean, they're just. Somebody was telling me a couple of days back that I took my dog to a dog psychologist. Like, what does even that do? So I mean, the kind of careers that are emerging now are unheard of. So, but that's fine. So you can chart your. I'm sorry.
And confusing, I said.
Exactly. So the more the number of.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can. So the more the number of options, the more confusing it makes you. The limited the number of options are, the easier the decision making becomes. So I think it is always better. I don't think that just a bachelor's degree would define your career. But I do think that the overall education system will take a rehaul. I'm not sure if the 4-year, 3-year bachelor's, how much will it hold. I would really hope that there'll be more experiential component which would kick in even in our bachelor's system, in our undergraduate system. Absolutely. As well, because that's where the young minds need more stimulation today, which they are right now using on applications, rather than use that time. And I'm very happy. We've been using, for example, products like Internshala, portals like Internshala. I think excellent concept, and full credit to kids who are logging in and trying to gain experiences. You see some fantastic minds and very, very fruitful kids who really want to do something in life, want to gain experiences, gain that exposure coming out of it. So I think it'll be a combination, but definitely practicing driven.
Very true. And I think there'll always be space for somebody who's willing to try that much harder and is willing to, at least make the effort and make sure that effort is visible as well.
Absolutely.
As we start winding down, Deepshikha, I'm going to open it up to a couple of audience questions.
Sure.
One is actually related to your last answer, where I have Dipali asking, what do you think is the basic difference in the skill set required between working in a corporate organization versus working as an entrepreneur?
Oh. I think I see, my basic skill sets are always ethics, which is integrity, energy, and loyalty to the organization. I think these are the 3 skills that I would anyway look for. The more on the attitude, everything else can be taught. You can't teach ethics, you can't bring in energy, you can't, enthuse loyalty. So if you have these 3 things, you definitely need it both for your own journey or you are going into a corporate world. But I do think that in your own environment, you need far more resilience. You need far more drive, because the highs are not that high. The lows are even lower than you can even imagine. So, and it's, it's the picture that you see painted on Economic Times, on Forbes, on Fortune. Those are all the guys who've been beaten but have succeeded at some level. You don't hear of people who are falling here and there, downtrodden every day. And those numbers are far higher. And the reason that happens is because the circumstances are very, very, very tough. And, even with the entire COVID experience, I mean, we've been blessed. I mean, I look at my team and I tell them that I'm blessed to we're blessed to be together and building this organization, that we could pivot and be so agile. But the fact is that there are so many entrepreneurs that I know who are probably not resurrecting, who are going through a situation that you can't even imagine. So that resilience you definitely need. Second is you need to multitask. You can't, in a job, I've seen people say, This is my job and this is not my job. This is what I'm going to do. This is not what I'm going to do. As an entrepreneur, you don't have a choice. You will have to plug in. You will have to be everything in the beginning, and then second is you will also be required to build a team, build a camaraderie. So I think those three skills, which are imperative to become an entrepreneur, being able to survive through thick and thin, and two is being resilient, and three is being able to build a team which can execute your vision. That is going to be very, very critical for you.
Absolutely, and I think those are great points, Deepshikha. Talking about people skills again, Harvinder is asking, what is the best and the worst part of working with people on a daily basis?
Best part of working with people, I don't know if I can categorize Harvinder between best and worst. I think
it needs to be done, right?
It's you are people, right? You're human beings. You need human beings for anything that you would do in your life. There's nothing that you can do without another human being intervening. So, but that's the fabric. I think as human beings, irrespective of how much of an introvert or an extrovert you are, we all enjoy company. We all need company. And in terms of I don't think I'll categorize, and I think it's a very, very, very wide zone. You take it in your stride, you learn, and you move on. Customize.
I think the energy that we get from each other as well is extremely important.
Absolutely.
We have AJ asking, how do I get into a top 4 consulting organization like you did?
A top consulting organization. I mean, a straight line answer would be, if you really want to go in from a college or an institute, I think most of the good consulting companies look for very, very high numbers, very high grades. That has been traditionally happening, especially in the early years. They look for strong academic record, which I never had. But in the later years, they look for camaraderie, they look for energy, they look for understanding of your sector. And I have, in all the jobs that I've done, I've done about 4 jobs so far in my entire life, and changed 4 jobs in my 18 years career. And I have not once floated my resume. I don't remember when I made my resume first. So all these jobs I got were through network or word of mouth. That in the lateral space really helps. I mean, I would really encourage you to start and keep networking with organizations, with individuals in organizations that you are keen on. Look for avenues, look for opportunities, events, webinars, maybe. Look to engage with them over different social media channels, and that should get you the visibility. The other point that I would definitely mention, Siddharth, is that I think the whole not to spill doom, but the whole job loss story is not over. It's going to get worse in the next 3 months. And as organizations realize that they're running out of money, which is now going to happen, you will see more and more of that happening in the next 3 to 6 months. But people who will stand out are the people who have developed the passion, the energy, and the will to succeed. If you're able to communicate that, you're not just going to be, there'll be no more managers, there'll be no more strategists, there'll be no more visionaries, there'll be doers. If you are a doer, you are not going anywhere. Everybody needs you. Everybody needs a doer today. By virtue of what has happened in the past few years, I think we've had too many strategies, too many consultants. We need to do stuff.
Sorry. No, I think that's a great point that you bring up, that not only are you a doer, but do you have the ability to prove it as well? Can you talk about something tangible that you've done and that you've achieved?
Absolutely. And
absolutely. And one last question from the audience. What is the best and the worst advice that you've got, and from whom? This is Janvi asking. You can probably skip the whom part, but you can tell us about the best and the worst advice.
I think I don't really remember any specific advices. I mean, I don't remember it by people, but I definitely know, Janvi, that I am an absolute sum total of people that I've met in my life, and I'm continuing to be so. I learn from every single person, every single living being that I connect with or that I come across with. Uh, and then over a period of time, some of these learnings get validated, or some of these learnings get updated, improvised on. So that's it. I don't think I don't remember. I don't remember anything one positive or negative.
Great. Anything that we've left out, Deepshikha? Anything that you'd like to talk about that we may not have got time for?
That's it, Siddharth. I mean, I think I would. I just get so surprised by the number of people that I meet, and who especially those who will candidly start talking about, how people don't like working with people, or how people are uncomfortable with teams or managing teams, and some of those
I
things.
agree.
I think you don't have a choice. If you think that you have a choice of not dealing with people and then building up, that's not going to work. You will have to find ways. You will have to find customizations to deal. As I said again, be empathetic, be fair, but be assertive. Uh, 360 degrees, and you will make success. Be fair. Keep helping people. Don't look for a. It's not a transaction. And but take care of yourself first. And
Absolutely. No, I think that's great advice to end the conversation on, Deepshikha, is take care of yourself, be assertive, yet don't be underconfident to go after what you actually want.
absolutely.
So, Deepshikha, I wish you and everyone at SpeakIn nothing but the best. Tons of success to you guys.
Thank you.
And hoping to catch up with you in person once we're on the other side of all of this, and whenever I'm in Gurgaon next or you're in Pune next.
Absolutely. Looking forward. Thank you very much, Siddharth, for your time. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Deepshikha. Take care.